People back at the site after a 3-year break. Tens of thousands of music fans are making their way into Worthy Farm despite the rail strikes and the travel chaos. Headliners include Billie Eilish and Sir Paul McCartney. That's the latest. I'm Tamsin.
This is the HCR 104FM weather forecast.
Long, clear periods this evening, but cloud may increase after midnight, perhaps with some mist patches by dawn. There will be light winds and a minimum temperature tonight of 9 degrees. And the outlook for Thursday, another fine, warm morning with long sunny periods and light winds. Cloud increasing in the west of the region during the afternoon, perhaps with some heavy showers developing. Maximum temperature tomorrow, a nice warm 29 degrees.
That was the HCR 104FM weather forecast.
Now, another hour of hits and memories.
From Huntingdon's truly local radio station.
Over to you.
On HCR 104FM.
You're listening to Norman Napa on HCR 104FM.
Hits and memories. HCR.
If I could make a wish, I think I'd pass. Can't think of anything
air that I breathe. I was singing along to that, upsetting my guest because I've become tone deaf as regards singing. But good evening. It's me, Norman Napper. I'm here on the Wednesday night edition of Over to You. It is 7 minutes past 7, and I'm joined in the studio this evening by a lady from Cambridge County Council. She'll give us her exact title shortly. And she's going to talk to us about courier scams. And believe it or not, they are getting more and more prevalent, especially in this time of people having no money to spend and what have you, and people, as rotten as they are, will try and get as much money out of you as they can. So there we go. So it's going to be scams this evening, and I'm going to introduce my guest. Her name is Natasha Fountain. So good evening, Natasha. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself first before we go.
I spent 12 and a half years working for Northamptonshire Police as a PCSO, and saw this job advertised, and it tempted me away.
Okay, what actually... You've got two titles, haven't you? You've got a department title and your own personal title. Go on, give us them both, because you said one was more difficult than the other to say. Go on. The
department is the Community Protection Team, and there's me, who's the Community Protection Resilience Manager. Smart, so I can't even get it right. Community Partnership Protection Manager.
So in other words, you might as well stick with the second one, really, mightn't you?
And basically what we do is we deliver scams talks to people, trying to advise them of how to protect themselves. And I manage the Cambridge and Peterborough Against Scams partnership, which we talked about last time we met.
Good, we did, yes, we did. Now, I am going to say to you, or to tell people, that this is going to be a regular occurrence. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it is.
We have negotiated once a month. Tell us what you're going to do next month. Have you got an idea what you're going to talk to us about next month? Or is it still in the air?
I have got a complete mental blank about the whole thing.
Oh.
So it is planned. I've just got a complete mental blank.
It's all right, I threw her there, you see. I told her I'd throw her, but never mind. We'll ask her again maybe later on and see what she comes up with. Natasha, how did you actually get involved with the department in the first place?
I saw the job advertised, and it was only maternity cover. So hopefully, or not hopefully, that's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? The lady will return off maternity leave in September and take over back her job.
So we might end up with somebody different after she comes back.
Yes.
So if she's coming back off maternity leave, does that mean to say that you lost your job, or would you? Sorry, it's a temporary contract.
That's fine. It's a temporary contract, maternity cover. Okay. I always knew that was what it was going to be.
That's fair enough. Right.
But it's still, it was still a worthwhile job to me and something I wanted to do.
Okay, right. So as I said in the introduction, that you're going to talk to us about courier fraud. So tell us exactly what courier fraud is.
This is a telephone crime where the victim will receive a call from someone who they believe is in a position of authority. It could be, they say they're a police officer or a bank official, and at the end of the day, they send a courier to either pick up your bank card or some items that they've made arrangements. So if they're saying they're a police officer, they might say they're trying to trap somebody into trying to trap a criminal. So please, could you help us out by purchasing this item for us? We'll send a courier to collect it as part of our evidence chain. And so you've bought this expensive item.
I was just going to say, they're not cheap items, are they?
No, you hand it over to the courier.
High-end items, aren't they, really, more than anything? So I'm going to ask you this question. If they call you and ask you to buy this item, what happens if the person that they call says, I haven't got that sort of money? Would they just simply put the phone down on them?
Yeah. You're of no interest to them. But you'll probably find that they already know whether you've got that sort of money or not, because you're on this list.
Right. Okay. It's one that's been stolen, hacked, or pinched. Yeah. Right. Okay. So what is the purpose of courier fraud?
This one's really simple. It's purely simply to steal your money.
I see. Right. As it did to me, but different form of fraud. So how do they actually achieve this in the first place? How do they actually achieve
Well, it will start by the fraudster building up a relationship with you. They might be offering some information that the victim knows that doesn't think anyone else should know. It could come from an official source. We just talked about lists being stolen. So that list contains all sorts of information about you. So you don't think anyone else knows that, but it's possibly on this database that's been stolen from somewhere. Or you may have already given up the information yourself without realising it. Fraudsters, have this sort of information to hand, and after the conversation, it will end up with you giving the fraudster your bank details or buying this item, as we mentioned a minute ago.
So is it usually a case of before anything occurs, the caller actually gets very friendly with the person on the other end of the phone? So
yeah, absolutely. This is their job. Their job is to be plausible, believable, and to befriend you, and that's how it starts.
Okay, so how does the fraudster build this relationship with the potential victim, shall we say? How does he actually manage to build the relationship? Well,
there's basically 5 points to this answer, and remember, this is all on the phone. You can't see their body language, so you're reliant, or they're reliant on listening to the tone of your voice. You're reliant on listening to the tone of their voice. So their questions, have to be really spot on to entice you in. So they'll probably start a call with a warm greeting, and they'll probably be smiling, as the smile will alter the sound of their voice, and it will travel down the telephone line and you'll be able to hear it. So they might start, "Good morning, how's the weather today? Hope it's as good as it is here." So, really quite friendly, enticing, inviting. They will start by setting an artificial time limit, by letting the victim know it's going to be a quick call. That'll keep you interested, you see. So they'll say, "Oh, I won't keep you long. I just need to check a couple of details with you." So already you're thinking, "Oh, I've got time to listen to this. It's only going to be quick." They might request assistance. We all have a desire to help people, and the scammer will utilise this to their advantage. So they already have set the scene with the question above and needing to check details, which might just be your name and address. So they might follow up with, "Oh, thanks for that. Can you help me with one more thing?" And now you're feeling helpful. Now you're, you want to be helpful. You want to, help this person. So they, make you feel important. So, you're helping the fraudster out. We all want to tell our story and be listened to. So when encouraged by a person who's being attentive and we believe interested in what we are saying, we have a tendency to open up. So perhaps we then end up telling them more than we should. So if the above request for help has been followed with, "Yes, but I can't be long, I'm off to pick my grandchildren up shortly," or "I'm off to my club meeting," it gives the fraudster more opportunity to be attentive. So, "Oh, grandchildren, how lovely, what are their names?" Or, "Oh, a club meeting, that sounds interesting, what do you do there?" So already they're making you feel important. And then open questions, they require full answers. You can't just say yes or no. So, they make use of the words who, what, when, why.
Like I do.
Absolutely. You're going to ask open questions because you don't want your, your interviewee saying yes or no. You want them to answer the question. So, "Oh, what club are you with?" Or, "Where's your favourite meeting?" Or, "What is your favourite meeting?" "When is the meeting held?" "Where are your meetings held?" You try answering yes or no to any of those questions.
It's virtually impossible. Mind you, it can happen. It has happened to me on the show. I have to say that quite a few years ago in actual fact, I had a couple of ladies in, bless them, who are actually another set of regular customers here. It was their first meeting with me, and I had 15 questions, as I normally do. And I explained to them that it's a case of 3 sections, 5 sections each, and then whatever's left at the end, we do the thing. And they said, "Oh, yes, okay, right, okay." And I started asking who, blah, 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 what, blah, blah, blah. We went through 15 questions in 10 minutes.
Oh, dear.
They managed to circumvent the who, what, why, where, when, and how, and just come up with yes or no answers. I was actually gobsmacked, to say the least, because I thought to myself, I must have asked those questions wrong, so...
Well, you won't have that problem with me. You'll have to tell me to be quiet.
Well, as I say, it's entirely your show. You can do whatever you want. Okay. Right. Now, Are there any telltale signs that you can use to spot these calls?
Yes, there's a lot of information on the internet how to make a good telesales call. So actually you can do the research yourself to sort of find out what sort of questions that they will be, asking you. So, the person at the other end of the phone, they're going to let you, the victim, know they are listening. So that perhaps they'll use non-specific words like, just to let you know that they're listening to you.
Probably reading the newspaper at the other end. Well,
quite possibly. They'll use words that you, their victim, have used. So if you say something was cool, they'll use that word themselves. They'll use cool at an appropriate time because it makes their language in line with yours. If they used a different word in place of it, it would just back you off that little bit rather than draw you in. They won't be telling you anything about themselves. It'll all be about you. And that's, part of it to get you drawn in, be a good listener. So
what you're saying there is if the victim is there listening, and as you say, they're asking all these questions about the who, what, why, where, and when, and so forth, and the victim was to say to them, "Oh, do you go? What about yourself? Do you go to any sort of clubs?" What would normally be the answer?
They'd probably answer because they want you to think this is a two-way relationship. So they might just pick out the air, which I'm about to do now in response to your question is, "Oh yeah, I play badminton on a Tuesday night." Then back to asking you questions. So you feel they've given you a little bit, but they haven't really.
So they won't tell anything about themselves. It's all about yourself, as you say. And do they often repeat things to the victim, and either to put them more at ease or to throw them off guard?
Yeah, it's more about making them feel empathy. So, I understand why you like going to that meeting so much. They will show they've been listening to you by repeating stuff back. They will match the speed of your speech. So if you talk really fast, they'll talk fast back. If you talk really slowly, then they'll repeat that back to put you at your ease, to make you feel, you're at one with them.
It's interesting. Natasha, we're going to go for a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about courier fraud. I think you'll find the next section, folks, a lot more interesting, and also give you a chance to make sure you steer clear. So keep listening.
Money's too tight to mention.
Do you use Amazon? Yes, I said Amazon. Well, if you do, you can help us by going to hcrfm.co.uk and clicking on the Amazon link at the top of our front page whenever you're buying anything from Amazon. Every time you do this, you're helping Huntingdon Community Radio gain a few pennies. And pennies make pounds, which helps us to continue to entertain and inform you. Who said money's too tight to mention?
Money's too tight to mention.
Spruce up your garden with JCS Landscapes. We cover all aspects of landscaping, from installing a new driveway or patio, laying a new pathway, or replacing that tired fence. We are a local company specialising in block paving, laying new turf for that perfect lawn, or for anything landscaping. Contact JCS Landscapes for a free quotation. You can contact us by emailing info@jcslandscapesltd.co.uk. Call us on 01480 87 97 69. That's Huntingdon 87 97 69. Or why not have a look at our website www.jcslandscapesltd.co.uk. JCS Landscapes Limited. We have the designs and materials available to offer the perfect solution.
The Priory at 83 High Street, Huntingdon is the home of Da Vinci's Wine Bar and the Rajput Indian Restaurant. And we welcome you to eat inside or take away. The Rajput takes great pride in offering the highest quality ingredients, and Da Vinci's has an extensive cocktail menu and excellent selection of beers and wines, and is now introducing a beautiful newly refurbished function room for any event. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for The Priory Huntingdon, or call to book on 01480 460 676, or book online at rajputhuntingdononline.co.uk. That's Huntingdon 450 676.
Time warp. Time warp.
Are you ready? So
carried away there. I was talking to Natasha and I forgot the time. That was exactly why. The Time Warp with Damien. And we're here this evening talking to Natasha. And we are talking about courier fraud. Now, before the break, we talked about how victims get involved with... and how sorry, I beg your pardon, I'll rephrase that. How the fraudster gets the victim involved and then starts, how can we say, buttering them up. I'm going to use that word, buttering them up, and then it's going to happen. And I'm going to say, so how does the victim get caught up with the fraud?
Because every person has a basic desire to be helpful. And so you believe you're helping either the bank get their money back, or you're helping the police catch a criminal. You're being helpful, and that's how they get you really involved.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. As I was telling you before we came on air about the fact when I got scammed, some of these methods were actually what they used on me, and it's a case of... I was totally taken in by them. You know, that's what really grips me, because I said I would never get scammed. I would never get scammed. And lo and behold, I did. And I didn't live it down for weeks. My wife was constantly reminding me about it. She still does now, you know, she still goes on about it sometimes. But
there's two things I want to say to that. One, first of all, thank you so much for admitting it, because people don't, they're too embarrassed. And there is absolutely nothing to be embarrassed about. Because this is their job, they're professional at it. So, you know, you don't expect to be able to do a plumber's job. You know, if you need a plumber, you get a plumber in. And these people, it is their profession. It is their job to entice you in and suck you in. So, you know, please don't be embarrassed about it. Shout about it. Help other people. Help them learn from your, you know, experience and help them protect themselves.
As far as I'm aware, they're probably still out there doing the same sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll just keep doing it until they get caught.
Do you know what actually really got me was, I know they were Indian, so I should have realised that, I thought, they're calling from the call centre. They actually had must have had a soundtrack running in the background of all these different phone calls going on, people chatting in the background, you know, that's what really got me, and still gets me today. Right, okay. Can you give us an example of what might be asked of the victim?
Yeah. Okay, so the fraudster might suggest that money's been moved from your bank account and bank staff are responsible. Or they might say a business is acting fraudulently, I can't even say that word, fraudulently, and the police need you to purchase an item so they can help prove the crime. So already, you know, they're getting you sucked in by making you feel important, making you want to help.
Yeah. And of course, as we said before, it's always high-end items that they ask you to purchase, you know, Rolex watches and all the rest of it. But and then, as you said, if you turn around and say, "Well, I haven't got that sort of money to thing," they will just put the...
They're more than likely just hang up.
Would they just hang up on you, would they?
I would guess so, because you're wasting their time.
Yeah.
This is their job, and so if you're wasting their time, they need to get on a call to somebody else.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, of course, yeah. Now, I've got to ask this. You probably don't know the answer to it, but... do they know exactly who they are going to call, or do they have one of these computer dialing systems which they just press a button and it will come up with...
all of the above.
All of the above.
If they've got a database and they've got the computer system that can randomly dial... Now, what happens is, when you answer your phone, and I only found this out the other week, when you answer your phone, your voice saying hello activates your telephone number on their system. So even if there's no one available in the call centre to answer your call right now or to speak to you right now, they know your number's live. So therefore, they will ring back at another time. If you say hello, you'll probably get transferred to the next available operator who will, hi, I wonder if you can help us out, and start. Yeah. However, if you're not sure of who's calling, don't say hello.
I see.
And if no one speaks at the other end...
So in other words, what they would have at their end is a time limit to leave the call running before it goes on to the next one.
Yep, because also, just think about this. So if I don't say hello and they think the line is dead, they'll probably cross your number off their list because they'll see it as an inactive number. So, if you don't know who it is, don't say hello. Wait for the other person to speak first. And if the other person speaks first, good chance they're genuine. I'm not saying they definitely are, but it's one way of weeding out some of the fraudulent calls.
That's interesting. Okay, so they've given you the possible suggestions that they might do to start the fraud off. What happens then? What happens next?
Okay, so the victim is then asked to help the police out. Let's talk about the high-end goods here. So you buy these goods. So they'll say, "Oh, we think this website is fake," and they're sending fake goods and pretending they're official, high-end. So they get you to buy it, and they say, "This is all part of our investigation. So can you buy the item? Then we'll send a courier to your house to collect." Hence why it's called courier fraud, to collect the item and take it to the police station. So you've bought the item, you've handed it over to the courier, you can't return the item because you no longer have it. So therefore, you've lost the item. And of course, it will be genuine because it will be a genuine website that you bought the item from.
So they won't use a fake website to actually purchase
No, because they want the item. They want the Rolex watch which they can sell on. They want the item.
Right, I'm with you.
We'll talk about Rolex watches. So they'll get you to buy the Rolex watch, which you give to the courier. They now own a Rolex watch, and you've got the bill for it. And you say you haven't got the item, so you can't return the item to get your money back.
Okay, right. Okay, that's interesting. So I'll say in that case then, what or any specific examples that have been used in the past? What are there? Have you got any specific examples that have been used in the past?
Yeah, so the other way of buying the high-end goods is, they're trying to get you to transfer money out of your account. They're trying to get your bank details. So they might say, your bank card has expired. We'll send we're from your bank, and your card is no longer valid, but we think there's a problem. So we're going to send a courier to collect your bank card. So you think it's the bank, so you think, they will therefore cancel your card. The courier collects it, hands it over. The courier could be a genuine courier.
Right.
That is sent to collect this item.
Yeah.
Or it may be, part of the network. So you've now handed your bank card over. So they start using it. And then you don't realise it's being used because you think the bank's closed it down. So you may not check. You may not freeze it yourself. Because on banking apps these days, you can freeze cards.
That's correct, yeah. So
you in an ideal world, if you're going to hand your card over to any other person, put a block on your card and freeze it, so that they can't use it. And so, okay, you haven't done that. They buy items, you realise they're coming on your statement, but you've handed your card over. So until you ring your bank and cancel it, they're able to use your card.
Now, if that happens... I think it does. I'm not sure off the top of my head. That if you phone your bank, you realise that they've stolen your not credit card, your debit card. Does it happen to both credit and debit cards?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Then let's say it's your bank debit card, and you find that on your statement you've got these items which you know very well you didn't purchase or you didn't buy. I take it that you are still entitled to tell the bank that this is a fraud and that I'm not saying will, but they normally should give you your money back. And then what do they do? What does the bona fide bank do then? How do they recover their money, or don't they recover the money?
They don't necessarily recover their money. Now, I can't answer the next question that you're going to ask me before. There are some banks that will, without question, just give you their money back, and this comes out of their own pocket. Whether they recover the money or not, you get your money back. But there are other banks that don't do that. And I don't have a definitive list of who does and who doesn't.
No. Because as I said to you, my bank did. My bank did give me back the money without question. And they were very sympathetic about what had happened. So it wasn't a case of you stupid idiot for doing that in the first place. They were, okay, fine. A few questions, blah, blah, blah. Have you reported it to this people? Have you reported it to that people? I said, no, I haven't reported it. And the people I'm talking to about are the police. You report it to their fraud line, And what they will say to you straight away is, this is not a place where we can take action. We're just building a database of the fraud for potential future prosecutions. That did disappoint me, I must admit, that...
But you've got to remember, these are usually done by the big organised crime groups. And so, in the bigger picture, it'll be part of the big picture. Right. But they can't necessarily identify, who, what, when, where and why now. So when we talked about these databases before and them getting stolen, hijacked, hacked, your name could have shown up on that. Now, when they raid somewhere and they find a database, if your name is on it, they can hopefully link it back that way, because there'll probably be information on what sort of fraud they're running. And then, so if your name's on the database that they've got, there's a good chance that
Sorry, I sidetracked you there.
That's all right.
Natasha. Give me some more examples of how they can that have been used in the past.
Okay, well, we've already had the high-end purchase of items. Let's not forget that one, and we've just covered the bank card expiry. But there's also a counterfeit cash or bank investigation. So you might be contacted by a person claiming to be a police or a bank official, and they need help with a banking corruption investigation. So, you as the victim are told to withdraw a large amount of money, and the cash will be picked up later by a courier to check for fingerprints or to identify the counterfeit banknotes. Again, once you've handed your cash over, you've no idea where it's going. Because that's the other thing about a courier. I send a courier to you, you don't know my address. If you send it to me, I have to give you address in order for you to send it.
Right.
But if I send a courier to collect, you don't know my address.
So some people, people should probably go, ding, I didn't give them an address. They haven't asked me for my address. How do they know my address before I send this or wait for the courier to come? So that should be one of the alarm bells.
They know your address because they've got it on the database and you've probably confirmed it.
Yeah.
But you won't know the fraudster's address because the courier comes to your house to collect.
Right. I'm with you. Yeah. And of course, one of the which happened to me, computer takeover. Is that correct?
Yeah. There's your other one. So the fraudster will telephone the victim, reporting to be from your internet service provider or saying you have an issue with your internet connectivity, and maybe you might be due compensation. There you go, there's the hook, there's the worm on the end of the line. Compensation.
That's what hooked me.
You're going to get money back. So the victim is persuaded to download a remote access application, giving the suspects access to their home computer. So when that link may always stay live, so when you type in your bank details, they may be able to pick it up there, or they might persuade you to log in front of them and get your details that way. And once they've done that, they've got completely all access to your bank accounts. Or they might be, take back to the first one, take the cash out, we'll send a courier to collect it because you owe us money now effectively. So there's all sorts of ways, and that one sounds a little vague, but that one is the computer takeover one. There's so many different threads to that one.
Well, that when it happened to me, I know I keep going on about this because it always chides with me. With the computer, they did it over the computer with me, and asked me to log into my account. 3 times my anti-virus alert went off and unlocked the account, and 3 times they made me call my bank to unlock the account. And then they says, we need to put on some software. The software they tried to give me didn't work. So I said, I've got TeamViewer. I'll log you on through that. And I got in there. They then gave me back the money which they said I was compensated for. Then they said, we've made a mistake. We've ended up giving you more money. And then they says, and then all of a sudden, my wife got in. She says, picks up the phone. He said, she should be not on the phone. No, she shouldn't be put on the phone. And then that's when it clicked, and bang, I put the phone down. And that was when they'd already taken the money out. If I'd have stayed there, they'd have cleaned my bank account out. So that shows you a lot of this is
but it's also your desire to help. Plus, they might rush you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. They were rushing me at that particular moment, and I was getting all flustered. Anyway, folks, we're going to go for a break, and when we come back, we will do the last section of this very interesting interview this evening. So keep listening.
If using your bathroom has become difficult or you are worried about slipping or falling, it's time to speak to the Bathing Mobility Advisory Service, your local mobility bathroom specialist. The Bathing Mobility Advisory Service will design and install a safe, comfortable and fully accessible modern bathroom that meets all your mobility needs. You can rely on us to expertly manage every aspect of the project from start to finish with a caring and professional service. Regain your independence and peace of mind in as little as 4 days. Speak with the Bathing Mobility Advisory Service today on 01480 879 754. That's Huntingdon 879 754. Or go to bathingmobility.co.uk to arrange your free design and quote appointment. The Bathing Mobility Advisory Service. We take care of all your needs.
This is Norman Napper on HCR 104 FM. HCR.
I never meant to call you when you sorrow. I never meant to call you when you pain. I'm the one who wants that now she's laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only want to see you.
There we go. That was Purple Rain by the great Prince. You're listening to me, Norman Napper, on the Over to You show on a Wednesday evening. And we're talking to Natasha Fountain from, I'm going to use the Cambridge County Council title on this one rather than the funny titles that she's got. And we're talking about courier fraud. Now, before the break, Natasha, we talked about all the bits and pieces about how people can get involved and how they get taken in and what have you. So the obvious question I'm going to ask you now is what can people do to protect themselves from these sort of frauds?
There's generally, with every scam out there, there's usually very similar telltale signs. So... courier fraud is what we're talking about right now. So it usually starts with an unsolicited call to the victim, but you could substitute the telephone call for an email or a text, etc. Typically, they'll pose as an official. So it could be a bank official, it could be a police officer, it could be a computer or utility engineer. And actually, one of the ones that was going round, not last year, the year before, was HMRC. So you're being phoned by somebody you think is in an official capacity.
Yeah.
So the courier fraudsters will usually request that you purchase a high-end item. So let's pick on the Rolex watch as we were using it earlier. It might be gold bullion though. They might ask you to do cash withdrawals or provide a bank card for collection. So all those things, if they're asking you to purchase something or, give them money or your bank card, they should be, a big flag. Right. And if I had one, I'd be waving it. So they'll also... Now, this one is an absolute classic. They'll instruct you not to tell anyone
what you're doing. This is what they accepted me.
Don't tell your family or your friends.
That's right.
They're, again... massive red flag. So when I used to be a PCSO, when I was doing talks in school, there was a particular talk called the blue butterfly, and the essence of the blue butterfly was if you have that icky feeling in your stomach that something is wrong, it probably is. And this is one of the things. If they tell you not to tell anyone, it's probably wrong. Because there's all the good things in life can be shared, can't they?
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, as I was saying to you that I was scammed, I'd actually done the interview in here on scamming a fortnight before I actually got scammed. So I'd only talked about it 2 weeks before, and I was going around telling everybody, don't get scammed, do this, that and the other, don't get scammed. And then boom, bang.
But I'm going to repeat myself here, they are professionals.
Yeah.
So talk about it and don't feel bad because this is their profession. So there's a couple more things here. So when carrying out a courier fraud, they'll probably request you hang up the phone. I think you said this happened to you.
Yeah.
So they tell you to hang up the phone and to ring your bank for confirmation. But because they haven't hung up, they've kept your line open. I don't know how far they could go, but right off the top of my head, they might play you the dial tone. Then when you press your buttons on your phone, it'll beep as they phones tend to when you press the buttons. Then they might play you a telephone ringing noise. So you believe you've dialed out, and then when you think you're ringing your bank, they will answer the phone. So let's pick on Barclays for the minute. If they say, oh, it's Barclays Bank here, and so you think you've got Barclays Bank, and so there's a really good tip there about call your bank on a different phone. Use your wife's mobile, use your mobile if they've called you on your landline, use your landline if they've called you on your mobile. And if you haven't got another phone to use, hang up, leave it 10 minutes, half an hour before ringing your bank.
Yeah, of course they would call you back if they were real.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then they will give up waiting on the line and they will clear it. So then you can phone your bank and confirm, knowing you've got a clear line, because they're not going to sit on there for 10 minutes. Bearing in mind, this is their business. If you're not falling for it, they need to move on. So again, this is why it's called a courier fraud, because they will also make arrangement for a courier to visit you to collect your item.
And of course you said it is possible that the couriers are genuine.
Yes, they could be genuine because they could be sent by the fraudster to collect the item. So again, if you were running this scam, why wouldn't you want a logoed, liveried vehicle turning up on the doorstep to add more?
Because that quietens you down, doesn't it? It must be real.
Must be real because they're using a well-known courier.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So there you go, folks. That's. As I keep harping on about this because it happened to me, and I know how down I felt. And as Natasha said, you don't need to be because they're professionals. So if anything that you've heard here has either happened to you or you've fallen victim to it, Natasha's going to tell us shortly what you might be able to do about it. So just give us a recap on what we've been doing, Natasha.
Okay, so we've discussed that it's their business, it's their job. They're going to make you feel, that they're genuine. They're going to make you feel that you want to help them. And there's different ways that they can do that. But you need to remember, your bank or the police will never call you to verify your personal details. They're never going to ask you for your PIN. Mm-hmm. And they'll never send a courier to your house. If a police officer wants something from you, they'll visit you in person. They're not going to say, I'm sending a courier. So your bank card is your bank card. You don't need to hand that over to anyone. And especially don't give out your PIN to anyone. They will ask you, the banks and the police will not ask you to purchase an items on their behalf, because if the police are doing, that sort of entrapment, they'll do it themselves. They'll have undercover officers doing it. They will do it all themselves. And they won't tell you not to tell anyone, including your friends and family. They just won't do any of that. So if any of, someone says any of those things to you on the phone, please think of that as a red flag. So if you do receive a call from someone saying they're from your bank, make a call to verify them, but use these simple steps. Never use a number that they have provided. Do your own research. So you either need to use a number you already have for your bank, or is a genuine number. I've got my bank's number stored in my phone, so I know it's a genuine number. For the police, dial 101. That is the non-emergency number, so you can phone that to verify. Don't use a number. Because if you ring 101 and say, this police officer has just rung me, they'll know if that police officer's genuine, on duty, etc. So if they've called you, we discussed this, if they've called you on a landline, you need to make sure you've got a clear line. And I'm repeating myself on these last 2 points because they're really, really important. So if they've called you on your landline, you need to wait 5-10 minutes longer before you make your call to make sure you've got a dial tone. And if possible, use another phone, such as your personal mobile or your partner's mobile. Mm-hmm. Because hopefully they haven't got that number associated with you.
Brilliant. So finally, Natasha, if someone feels that they have been scammed or have been a victim, who should they report it to? So courier fraud is a telephone scam. They generally use a telephone in order to build that relationship with you, and this should be reported to Action Fraud. So the telephone number for Action Fraud is 0300 123 2040, and they have a website which is www.actionfraud.police.uk. Brilliant, Natasha, that's great. And I've made use of them as well. As I said to you earlier on, I've made use of the Action Fraud line. So that's it for this evening. I hope that if anybody out there is worried about what we've been talking about, you can speak to Action Fraud, and they will put you right as to whether you're doing the right thing or not. They will go through the what's the word I'm looking for? The questionnaire. That's right. They'll go through the questionnaire and help you out that way. And so I will say thank you for this evening to Natasha. So I will say good night to you, Natasha. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And of course, you're back next month on the 20th of July, and It's going to be another scams night, and this time it's going to be doorstep scams. And we will talk all about people coming up, knocking on your door and doing their nastiness to you and how you can avoid it. So that's it from me for this week. I'm not here next week because it is Sue Rodwell-Smith with, what's she with? Oh, yeah, Scribblers Hour. It's Scribblers Hour next week. And I'm back on the 4th of July or thereabouts. And I have got on the Monday of 4th of July, which it is, and it is with Little Paxton. Little Paxton are going to be talking to us about their upcoming Packfest and Dog Show. So tune into that one. That's a good one. And then on the Wednesday, because this month it's been Melodramatics as our charity of the month. I hope you've been helping them out as best you can. It's going to be Acorn Cancer Support Group, who are going to be our charity of the month. And that's it. Coming up after me, we have John and Jackie Manders with the Country Show. And, of course, they're here tonight. They're just waiting to come into the studio. And then next, after them, at 10 o'clock, we have got Tony Obi with The Late Show. So I will say once again to Natasha, thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
And I will say to you, a good night, have a great week, and also God bless. And don't get too burnt in the sun, because it's supposed to be around about 29 tomorrow. So you will need to get plenty of sunscreen on, put the old hat on, and sit in the shade wherever possible. So once again, good night and have a great week. Good night.
At Ferrars Hall Care Home in Huntingdon, we are led by kindness, compassion and dignity. And our care is the kind we'd want all our loved ones to receive. Whether you're looking for specialist dementia care, a short respite stay or long-term residential care, why not speak to our friendly team who will help you understand your options. Call 01480 456 359. That's Huntingdon 456 359. Or search Ferrars Hall Care Home online. Don't go hungry. Get along to Chili Bites. With amazing tandoori and curry dishes, plus burgers, kebabs, chicken and pizza, we've got something for all tastes. We're open Monday to Thursday, 4:30pm to 11pm. Friday and Saturday, 4:30pm to midnight. And Sundays from 4:30pm to 11pm. But you don't have to come to us. We will deliver. Call Chili Bite on Huntingdon 356 000. Find us online at chilibiteonline.com or download the app.
Huntingdon Autos, your first choice for quality used cars in Huntingdonshire. Up to 100 cars always in stock, with prices to suit all budgets. And what if it goes wrong? All our cars are covered by warranty, with mechanics on duty 7 days a week, and we will even supply a courtesy car. The sales office is open 7 days a week, with trained staff to help you decide on the car that's right for you, as well as great finance deals available. So why not take a test drive today and own the car that you've always wanted? Want it? Try it, buy it at Huntingdon Autos, opposite RAF Whitton. Call us on 01480 509 664. That's Huntingdon 509 664. Or why not visit our website huntingdonautos.co.uk. Huntingdon Autos, for the car that you've always wanted.
It's just coming up to 8 o'clock on HCR 104 FM, where the time check is sponsored by Ian's Tyres on Stukely Meadows Industrial Estate. Fantastic offers on tyres and exhausts. Time to get your tyres checked? Call Ian's Tyres on 01480 458 560. That's 458 560.